Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Mr. Fix-It channel. Today I've got like a little hodgepodge of little video clips that I've done here and there that never really made it to a full video. Some of these may be from a while back, so forgive me if I seem like I'm a little out of character. So I hope you enjoy this. Stay tuned.
I was sitting out there in the shed one evening, not doing too much of nothing, just kind of staring at the wall and
Tapping on a starter with a hammer or something to get it going again can work on occasion, but there's a right way and there's a wrong way. The wrong way is tapping on this. You don't want to tap on this because what happens is you break the magnets in there and those will start dragging on the starter, and then you've essentially ruined your starter. Okay, so if you're going to tap on your starter, don't tap on this part. Tap on this part. This is the bottom, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to wiggle these. These make contact there. They ride here, and if they're worn or the springs are wore out and it doesn't make contact from these brushes to here, then the starter's not going to turn. So if you're going to tap on a starter with a hammer, the correct place to tap on the starter is on the bottom, not where the magnets are at. If it won't just crank, then you need a starter. But if you're in a situation where you don't have any other choice, you can't put a starter on it and you need to get somewhere, tap on the bottom where the brushes are. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to wiggle these brushes around and make contact. Don't destroy the magnets. This starter could have been rebuilt if it was just the brushes. You can replace the brushes. I assume you can replace this part too, but it's much more expensive than replacing just these brushes. Alright guys, hooking up trailer lights on your 1997 Chevy. This probably work on several other vehicles. I'm going to try to make this as quick, easy, and painless as possible. Stay tuned. So there's no trailer lights wiring on your truck at all, period. Okay, if you just want the 4-prong, one of these guys, then all you need to do is go to O'Reilly's, buy this thing, part 41125. Okay, I'm underneath the back of the truck. This is my gas tank right here because of the Suburban. If you're a pickup truck, you probably got a spare tire there, but here is the connectors that you're going to undo, and then you're going to put the O'Reilly part in between. This will give you the 4-pin trailer connector for your lights. That's all you need to do. Video's over. Thanks for watching. Now if you want to stay tuned and see how to hook up trailer brakes, okay, so you're going to need the same O'Reilly part. You're going to need your connector, of course. The connector I used did not have any wiring pigtail coming out of it, so I just ran all the wires directly in the back. I cut this off of the O'Reilly part, wired it into that. Okay, now while you're back here, if you look, this stuff's buried in here, but if you look in that same wiring harness, you're gonna have two wires, a big orange and a big blue. You see them in there, big orange and big blue? That's already there, that's factory. The blue one's gonna be your trailer brakes. The orange one's gonna be a 12-volt source to the trailer. It's already in the factory loom. Okay, moving on up into the cab. You're gonna need your trailer brake controller. Now, what I did is I just run the wires up and over the column, back in there. I drilled a hole in the firewall right there, put a grommet. The pigtail on your brake trailer controller is going to have 4 wires, a red, a black, a white, and a blue. The blue goes back to the same blue on the back of the truck. This white one goes to the battery negative. This black one goes up to the fuse panel, and this red one here goes to the brake light signal. Now for the brake light signal, if you look up in your dash, there's this big black plastic box. It's got all these wires. There's like 20 some wires in there. You're going to find the white wire that's in the bottom corner, this wire right here. Put your Scotch lock in there, put your red wire there. Moving up here under the hood. Now, just like in the back of the truck, if you look right down in there, in this big main fat loom, there's that blue and orange wire. They're all taped up. They're really hard to get out of there. They're really hard to see, but if you look, they're down in there. You just got to cut all that tape and pry them out of there. Once you got them pried out of there, now you have these two fuses, these two big jumbo 30s, and these two posts here. I run the black one from my brake controller to this post, okay, and I run that orange one to this post. Now, the blue wire coming out of the wiring harness down there, I run through the firewall, and that's connected to the blue wire on the brake controller. I ran the white wire all the way over to the battery. You can also get one of these trailer connectors, these round 7-pin trailer connectors. It already has the wiring pigtail on it. So you would just plug your O'Reilly part in right there, and then your other wires butt connect into there. Well, this is a video I wanted to watch before I got started on this project. I hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mr. Fix-It channel. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make your own gasket using this Felpro fiber sheet gasket. This is the part number. They sell this stuff in different grades and thicknesses. These are a couple different options here. They sell many different options. This is a Felpro product. Okay, we're going to use our engine part here as our template for making the gasket. You're going to want to make sure that you have this surface clean, like really clean. Okay, the next thing is have a piece of cardboard. This will help the process. So place the cardboard on your bench and then unroll your gasket. Okay, you could just flip this over and trace it with an ink pen, but you're not going to be able to trace the inside of this. So what I like to do is I'll take some oil and put a thin coat of oil on this surface. You don't need a lot, just a thin coat. If it's too thick, then it'll probably make the impression a little blurry. So I'm just wiping some of this up with my finger here. And it's as easy as just flipping this over, finding a place on your gasket material, and press this into the gasket material. Give it a few seconds, push down quite hard. Now I'm going to go ahead and take an ink pen and I'm going to trace out the outside of this. Okay, got that traced out, and I'm just going to pick this straight up. Alright, you can see the light impression from the engine part here. Alright, I'm just going to take an ink pen here and I'm going to kind of draw the inside line here just to make it stand out better. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hole punch. I'm going to start a hole so I can cut out the inside of this. I'll just save this piece because I can make other gaskets out of that. Now I'm going to take my hole punch and I'm just going to go around and punch all the holes. Yep, that's looking pretty good. This is a lot like kindergarten crafts and art. So if you remember your kindergarten art skills, this is going to help you out a lot. And just like that, you have a gasket. Hey, if you guys learned anything or if you get anything out of my videos, please hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Every time it's a car, every single time. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mr. Fix-It. Whenever you get a bike in or any kind of a vehicle that requires engine oil, before you start it or do anything else, make sure you check that it has oil in it. Now here's a sign that it may not. So this bike sat here overnight. Never mind that crack in the floor, that's just my crappy old floor. But you see that oil puddle? This bike's having some running issues and it's my job to figure it out. And I usually always start here, especially when I see oil on the floor. That's nothing on the dipstick. Look down in there. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, but there is absolutely zero oil in this engine. So don't assume it's got oil before you fire it up. Could very well be the running issue that this bike has. Of course it's going to start raining and wreck my audio, but I just wanted to show you. That's all the oil that came out of this. I don't see any metal flakes, so maybe the engine's okay. I don't know. Hey, what's up guys? Mr. Fix-It here. Working on this 1975 Honda Goldwing, and I pulled the carburetors off to do some carburetor cleaning and some tuning and whatnot. And let me show you what the problem is. Alright, pay no attention to the clutter all over my bench. It's always like this. But I got these carburetors apart, and I went to pull out the screws to the float bowls, and out of the 16 screws, 7 of the bolt holes are stripped. So what I'm doing here is I'm over drilling them and tapping them with a bigger tap for a bigger screw. So this is a screw it's supposed to be in there. So I'm just tapping them out to a slightly bigger screw. I'll also have to drill out the holes in the float bowl, clearance holes for those screws. But I just wanted to share this. This is one way that you can fix this problem without having to buy new carburetors. Just tap them to the next size up screw. This is a 5mm. The screws that were in it were 4mm. So just going up to the bigger screw, have to drill clearance holes. This isn't that big of a deal. It's just time consuming. It's a shame I got to do this. The only thing I can assume is that somebody was using a power tool to tighten these screws up. Don't use power tools on your carburetors. Just screw them in by hand. You can't, these screws are so small, you can't tell if the power screw's going to strip them or not. Just use hand tools here. So for these M5 screws, I'm using an 11/64 drill bit, and that's a pretty good fit for this tap, this 5mm tap. So a little bit of WD-40 helps the threads go in real nice. So just put a little bit of WD-40 on there. Make sure you get it straight. That's important. Look this way, look this way, make sure it's straight, and then put some new threads in here, and this will fix your carburetor. Hopefully you don't run into this, but this is one way you can fix that without replacing the carburetors. Thanks for watching. I'm ready to start this thing up for the first time. This car hasn't been started in 7, maybe 8 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. I can't remember. The last time I started it up, the truck going by. I took the gas tank out of it to work on the frame back here. So the gas tank's not in it. So I've got a hose to the fuel line right there. I'm just going to drop it down inside that gas can. That'll be my temporary fuel tank. A bottle of gas here that I can use to prime the carburetor with. So I'm going to go ahead and dump some oil in this thing. Alright, I got my 4 quarts of oil in there. I got my battery in there, it's connected. I want to prime the fuel system and prime the lubrication or the oil system before I want it to start. So I've deactivated the ignition system. So I shouldn't get any spark, and I should just be able to crank it to build up oil pressure and to send fuel up to the carburetor to prime. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, now assuming the starter still works and the battery connections are good, so I'll stick my key in here and crank this thing until I get oil pressure. Alright, there's oil pressure. Alright, so now we got the oil system primed. Okay, so the choke's not wanting to close. Looks like it needs an adjustment. We'll see how it goes anyway. Well, it made some noise there. To see if the carburetor's still good. I did drain all the gas out of this and everything last time it was run, so everything should be dry and clean in there and ready to go. assuming that it's sucking gas out of that gas can like it should. I'm not getting any gas up to the carburetor. So I wasn't having any luck getting the carburetor to fill up with gas. I don't know if the pump's not working or what, so I've got the gas tank there and I've got it hooked down on the fuel pump itself. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see down in there. I got it hooked right on the fuel pump itself, and then I'm going to try again and see what happens. Oh, and I also readjusted the choke so the choke's working. I can't believe it still starts up that easy after sitting all these years. Good job, Chevy. Yep, she broke. She broke. Poor car. It's alright, I'll fix it. So the time has come. I finally got my parts in. Open this box up. See what all we got in here. Nice. New filter, band, bushings, spacers, new modulator. Yep, all that stuff was bad. So set that down here. And then gaskets, new seals, everything there, and all the clutches and all the steel plates. Nice, got all that in. Also, if you remember this guy, this was destroyed, so I got a new part, replaced that, and everything else was good except for the spring, so I got a new spring and start putting this thing back together. So if I do everything right, it should work again, right? So I gotta put all these pieces back together. Oh boy. Okay, so I thought just for some practice, I still had the piece that was cut off of there, so I'm welding it back on. I'm obviously going to replace this, but I figured, you know, I can't ruin it any worse than it already is, so I'm just going to go ahead and practice a little bit. There's a huge gap. This was cut off by an air nibbler, so it leaves a 3/16 gap, which is a really pain in the ass to weld back up. So I figure if I can weld this back up and make it look halfway decent, then I should be able to do a nice butt weld with the brand new part. Everything looks nice and flush. I'm missing a section here, so at least it'll have something on this side. I do have that piece that goes up inside here, so I might try to put that back in there too. And of course, again, I'm going to be buying new parts. Right now I'm more focused on just getting the thing running and driving than I am working on the body. So I'm just piddling until I can get the parts. I need all the rear leaf spring mounting kit. Comes with the shackles, the bushings, and the clips and bolts and U-bolts and all the rubber pads and everything for the entire rear end. I want to go ahead and replace all of that. So until I can get those parts in, I'm just going to be doing some practicing on welding. So Here's the inside of it. You can see the big section I'm missing right there. So I might take some sheet metal and fill that in. Got it mostly welded in there and sanded down. I screwed up in a few places. That corner dipped down on me there. And that also kind of dipped down in on me. But this up here turned out pretty good. But at least I don't have to look at that gigantic hole in the side of my car anymore. I'm going to slap some primer and a little bit of paint on that so it don't rust over. There, I got a little bit of paint on it. And from 20 feet away, you can hardly tell I welded that back in there. Well, it's dark now. It did stop raining. It's still kind of wet down here. I got most of it dried up. But I do have the shackles in. It took me a while to get these. I had to bore holes, 2-inch hole, and then there was a metal sleeve that goes in and it gets welded in there to hold that shackle. I got both of those in. So one more step closer to getting it back on the road. More new parts for the old car. This time, oops, messed up the camera. We got a fuel sending unit. Oh yeah, fix the gas gauge. I'll get around doing body work at some point here soon. Exhaust so far. Get these pipes, I shorten these so they tuck up in here. Well, it's all done. Hard to see.